believe them. Ask Barry Seals what happened and how that played out in the movie American Made. Freeway Rick Ross, okay? He didn't really know, but Barry Seals knew, okay? So the thing is the government doesn't care. They'll oust you when they're done with you. A lot of people that cooperate with the federal government get ousted at some point or time when they're done with you because you're a liability and they don't want to deal with it anymore. They're very dirty. It's just like this. They hire these guys. They put them in play. They allow them to do what they do. And then when they're done with them, they can them, okay? But the crazy part about it is so many people are ready to take their place and believe that they're going to do it. Not do it to them is what I meant. So it's just like my sources in my case. Regardless, I think they'll hit a little right now due to the... Yes, but the thing about it is they allowed this to happen. They put them in play. They're allowing it. Still to this day, they're allowing it. Because listen, if they can stop all the shipments coming out of Venezuela with the boats... They can stop all the big, large shipments coming out of Colombia. You notice they're not down there targeting the cartels down there and the big people. They only target them in Mexico because they don't want to stop where it's coming from. They can literally put all the ships and boats down there and stop large boat shipments coming through and be able to monitor the seas. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some are going to get through, but they can stop 90% of that. They can stop a lot of it come across the land. They've taken every one of these guys down. Every one of them. The thing. Okay, hold on a second. They can take every one of these guys down and get them to cooperate, which they have. Okay. So how are you going to sit here and tell me they don't know where they're hiding their finances? What routes they're taking and everything else? The CIA helps them get the routes. They show them how to launder the money. They do all these things. That's why you never hear when they get busted how they're running their operations and what's going on. Because they don't want people to know how simple it is. Think about it. Our banks got in trouble not very long ago laundering the money for the cartels. So it's kind of crazy that the people believe that they're their own people. They're not. And that's why I tell people all the time, prove me wrong. The whole system is corrupt. Everybody gets paid off. Yes, and that's the thing about it is we do the time, or no, they pay the fines, we do the time. And it just blows my mind that these people continue to step up. I just had Katerina, she's a reporter out of Mexico on the cartels, come on, and she agreed with me that heads of cartels, they're smart, but they're really not. They're not the people that are really running the operations, okay? They put the right people in play, but I don't even think they're the heads. I think they're the face for the news and everything else, and they're the people that are out there like the head ranking in the streets that control the people, but they don't control the cartel and the way that operates. And she agreed with me with that part of the fact of how the cartels work. Because the people that I dealt with when I was dealing with the heads of some of the cartels, they were young. Don't get me wrong, they were smart, but they wasn't like beyond smart business people. They still were like flamboyant, just, you know, whatever. I've been around some very smart business people, and I don't put them there. And the thing about it is every one of them was controlled by somebody else. They were just a person that was put in play to deal with everybody and run all the operations and stuff. So cartels are territorial cash cows for the top government officials. Yes, and that's the thing about it, guys. Nobody, like I always tell everybody, prove me wrong, because some people come in my comments and say some crazy stuff about the cartels or saying it's not true or this, that. Majority of people see this. But what's crazy is our federal government is really at the point now where they don't even care about hiding it. Finally, someone that knows what they're talking about. It's not that I know what I'm talking about. It's the fact that it's gotten to the point where you can't hide it anymore. It's not blind, okay? It's so flamboyant. They're putting it out there that to the point where if you don't see it, I feel like you're really not that smart, or you're just not wanting to pay attention and believe it. It's just like in my federal case with the big pill mill stuff. They allowed us to do what we did. But once it started targeting the blue-collar, white neighborhoods, the upscale neighborhoods, kids in the suburbs, and their kids started, you know, getting addicted and bad things were happening to them, then they started complaining to the federal government. And once they did that, they had to start taking us down. But at the end of the day, they didn't, how should I say it? They didn't want to take the heads down. They didn't want to fix the problem. They just take us down. What the ghettos? No, they don't care about the ghettos, guys. Okay, listen, the ghettos, they don't give a about those people. Let's just be honest. It is what it is. We can sit here and talk about all that stuff because Chicago has all the stuff going on. Everybody else, all those, they don't really care. They don't contribute money, everything else. So, they can give two shits. But when you got suburbs and people like that got power and families and connects, they're going to make a difference. That's when it starts having an issue. If it hit a white neighborhood, like a trailer park, white trash, nothing's going to happen. They don't really care. But get back to the point of the cartel stuff, guys. They're literally taking bribes. So I think they said El Chapo was paying $100 million a month in bribes. Well, who was he paying that $100 million to? That's the thing about it. Why haven't we heard that, guys? $100 million a month. That's $1.2 billion a year in bribes. I'm going to say it. I can confirm government works with cartels. Yes, I believe it. Puppets. And the thing is, well, all of them. I mean, I agree to a certain extent, but I don't think it's the head people. I think it's more the fact that it's people that know the heads. So a lot of the law enforcement that I had on payroll and I was getting contacts and getting my information from wasn't actually the law enforcement. It was people close to them that would get the information. I would pay them, and whatever they did, what they did with it, they would tell, or that law enforcement would give information to somebody to give to me through a third party type thing. And I would say, okay, make sure that y'all are taken care of. Here you go. If they gave them the money, I don't know. But the information continued to keep coming. Sometimes I felt like they were giving me information that wasn't really true just to get money. They even mentioned the CIA and DEA in Mexico, country music all the time, making deals with card. Really, Raphael? That's pretty wild that they mention that stuff, because at the end of the day, you have to realize that retired DEA agent just got busted and indicted for laundering a bunch of money for the cartels. And it just goes to show you the amount of corruption. And the reason why they probably only busted him or he got exposed is because he did something stupid, or it got to the point something bigger was going to go down and they needed to make him the scapegoat. And I'm going to start touching more on this stuff because I feel like that's the problem with this country, is that when the higher ups start getting pressure put on, look, the whole thing with Eric Swalwell with this chick that he had, that, come on, they all said, we heard rumors. Guys, they know about all the politicians, what they're doing and how corrupt they are. I don't know. Come on, they all said, we heard rumors. Guys, they know about all the politicians, what they're doing and how corrupt they are. I don't know. But I kind of believe that he is, and the reason why I say that is they want to silence him. And that's the thing about it. If anybody thinks our politicians are really feuding, don't get me wrong, I think some of them, because you can't get everybody in a group to get along, but they're in different groups. At the end of the day, they sit up on Capitol Hill in the news and talk about each other and this and that, and then they turn right around and they go to parties and stuff and hang out. Don't think that the cartels are not doing the same thing with politicians. The politicians are talking about putting the hammer down on them, and then next thing you know, they're wanting to know where their campaign money or their next vacation is. I have some connects in Mexico after the Catarina thing and getting some inside scoop. I'm going to start diving into this and start touching more on the corruption with the cartels with our federal government. The reason why is I know a couple of DEA agents, and it's so funny when I start asking them questions, they tell me every time they build a big case against somebody, it gets shut down. And somebody said right here, El Chapo is not CIA. Prove me wrong. I put it in there, prove me wrong. How is he didn't work for the CIA? How do you think he didn't? The thing is El Chapo stood on business. No, he did not, guys. Listen, he cooperated after he went to trial. He was cooperating all along. He had no choice but to go to trial. But if you look at what he's doing, his whole family came over here. You think he didn't cooperate for his family to come over here and hide? Bro, you playing with fire. Listen, Fred, I'm not playing with fire, for one. Two, You apparently don't know my case. I take the federal government to trial and everything. I played with fire when I beat the feds, and then I fought them again after they begged, my prosecutor begged and pleaded me not to take a plea, or to take a plea deal and to quit playing with these people. So if anybody knows my case, I haven't stopped fighting these people and the corruption. A lot of the law enforcement and agents do like me, and they agree with what I'm doing and how corrupt the system is. So, and the thing is, guys, you have to realize the smaller guys in the field don't care. The people that really care are the ups. But at the end of the day, they took a big part of my life and did something to me. And now I'm going to sit here and expose and tell my side of the story. Not many people can touch on this and understand what the federal government has put the weight on them, how they fought them, and how they got punished, and see the other side. There's conversations that was held behind scenes that it's going to come out later on that it's going to talk about the corruption. Yeah, because a white man knows what's going on. Just, well, here we go again, guys. We're going to bring race involved, okay? What's so funny, white man's the one's taking them down. White man is the one that's surveillancing them. White men are the ones that are over there arresting them. So I would say white men know what's going on over in Mexico. So that's kind of funny that you bring race in, just like every time I talk about a black rapper or something, oh, you can't talk about it. Well, listen here, guys. You're selling to the white man. So I think we can talk about it. 3 years later, after a raid, they sent me a warrant out for my arrest for no reason. Yes, that's how. Listen, give me what you know. Guys, listen, Willis, what are you talking about? Guys, the thing is if you think at 1 minute that the federal government doesn't use these cartels and puts them in play for black ops and get this money to fund all their little things that they do and campaign funds, you're pretty delusional. I don't think they physically talk to them in person, as in like they have phone conversations. I think what they do is that they send somebody to pretty much like let them know, like, hey, listen, if you don't start doing this, doing that, funding this, we're going to put the weight of the government on you. And they turn a blind eye as long as they're doing certain things that they want. I don't know if you've done your research, but they think you kidnapped by feds. Also, too, I feel like as long as these cartels are giving up other cartels information and working and doing this stuff, that the federal government allows them to do what they do. But once they get so big and that they're not... and then they're in the press too much and their face is in the news and they're getting too much publicity and it looks like, why isn't the federal government doing something when this guy is in the news 24/7 and all these articles get in touch and he's getting all this music? Well, listen, guys, I just sat down with one of the ex-agents in my case, and he said, whoever the loudest in the room, he could be the smallest guy. It doesn't matter. Whoever the loudest in the room is going to get the most attention, and that's who we have to go out. So the guy that's quiet and that's the biggest down here, as long as people keep being flashy and loud, we're going to have to keep taking them out. He said straight up, it doesn't matter how big you are, what it is. It's what's the loudest in the room and who has, we need to go. I'm Mexican and we think the same way. What you say, no one believes us, though. And that's the thing about it, King. And in the government, this federal government, now, don't get me wrong, if you're a small time, yeah, they don't care, they don't know. But when you start making certain amounts of money, the elites in this world do not let you get big unless they have control. You can say what you want, just like on social media. You wonder how certain people's pages grow and other ones don't. And it's like, what? Like, how in the world? Like, I know people have better content, better music, better everything, in my opinion, and a lot of other people say the same thing, but they can't get a footing. And it's like, makes no sense. But if you start thinking about this, how they put them in play, how do you grow so big, okay? The men's show thing, okay? How is his NG whatever group grew bigger than all them, more violent, more everything, and took over the Zentas, which are ex-military, everything else? You know what I'm saying? Like, that just blows my mind. Like, how in the world did that happen? Sucks all 200 to 300 views. The thing is, guys, I get 300 people in my live, which is pretty good for, somebody doesn't come on here all the time. Nobody has arrested either of those three. Believe me, that's not true. You know, the thing about it is okay, here we go again. Do I believe it? I don't know. I don't know what to believe. El Chapo did not look like El Chapo, the one that they arrested. Do I believe that they have people have plastic surgery or look like them, take the hits and put them away, or release them and plastic surgery? I don't know. I will tell you, when there's billions of dollars involved, I believe people get taken out, people get misplaced, things happen. People hide people, okay? Do I believe Epstein is unalived? No, I do not believe it. I believe that he is out and about. He's too powerful. He's too everything, because you have to realize and understand one thing. Epstein was CIA, okay? He did work for them. If they unalived him and put him in prison, you think the next guy is going to want to do what he did? People would push back. People would find other ways to expose them when things happen. So they have to take care of people like that. Trump helps El Chapo. You know, the thing about it is I don't know if it's just Trump, but I agree what you're saying. The federal government does. Thank you for the gifts, guys. The thing is you have to realize one thing is that they have to take care of these guys to a certain extent, but what they're doing to them, just taking the heads out, just like Katerina said, just goes to show you that the federal government is behind this, and the federal government is the one doing this, because if they really wanted to hurt them, they know where their assets are. They know how they bank, just like they're doing with Iran and what they did with Venezuela. They shut the banking systems down. They go after all those people. They put pressure on their assets, their money. They shut the routes down like they did in Venezuela. They go after the Colombians. They're not doing none of that, guys. Venezuela was because Iran and was trying to move to Venezuela. You think the Epstein files, this video out to the public? You know, the thing about it is, guys, the Epstein thing will never get exposed. It will never be all the way put out there, because if it's top secret and it's something that they're doing to get corrupted people and control them, why would they expose it? You lose control when you give up that list, when you give up all the information. So why would they do it? They spend all that time and effort to get it, to control people. And if they expose it, they lose control. You think Iran will expose it? Mike, no, they won't. The reason why is it's hard to expose when they control the media, and AI shuts it down faster than anything. That was a power move. No one knows the truth about what you're speaking on. Public knows a narrative. Yes. And that's my thing is I'm not giving the truth. I'm giving you my opinion after dealing with the federal government, going to the feds, hanging around cartel people in there, dealing with cartel when I was out, taking the feds to trial, seeing their power, how they move behind the scenes, how they threaten you. I'm a consultant in the federal level. I talk to a lot of high guys that are fighting their cases, and the stories they tell me and how they play, it's absolutely insane. And then I talk to federal agents off the record that I know. They tell me all the time, we build cases, we work on taking these big people down, and then we start handing it over. They tell us to stop, or they take the case away from them, give it to somebody else, and it gets put on the shelf. You know, and that's, you know, if you don't believe that, I don't know what to say. I'm not trying to make you a believer. What I'm trying to do is to get people to understand that there's always going to be an amount of corruption. They're always going to allow something to happen for their mode, just like we do with our business, our households, everything else. Everybody's playing a type of a game to get one step ahead of somebody or on top of somebody, something on those lines. And if you want power and you're trying to get power, what's the old saying say, if you own a company, never tell nobody that you're not doing good, because then people will be like, oh, what's going on with this business? And they're not going to give you work. You always tell everybody it's on the up to the up. Bro's name is the Mayo. Listen, CIA ain't no one's friend. No, they're not. And Mike, that's a great point. The CIA is nobody's friends, okay? The CIA is an intelligence thing, okay? They're going to use you and abuse you until you can't give no more, or they feel like you're not an asset, okay? And then if they feel like you're an asset that's probably will leak or not follow, or, you know, fall on that sword for them, they're going to oust you. they're going to set you up. They're going to oust you. They're going to let you get exposed and, done. Wow. So Snowfall was true then. Yes, Snowfall is true, guys. The Freeway Rick Ross, go watch all his podcasts. Freeway Rick Ross talks about it all and how he's on a bunch of podcasts. Put in Freeway Rick Ross, guys. He's on talking about how the CIA and all them put him into play. Okay, look in the story about Rick Ross. Not Rick Ross, but Barry Seals, guys. Barry Seals is another one. And Barry Seals was working for the CIA. They were allowing him. They gave him the routes to get past all the DEA and everything else. That's CIA. So the thing is they were funding the guerrilla wars down there and all kinds of other stuff. So people need to realize is that what you see in the movies is, yes, somewhat true. And what they're trying to do, if you ever notice, you look at it, is prep you for the information that's going to come out in the future to get ahead of the narrative. And that's what Hollywood is controlled by. They actually say the Pentagon is one of the biggest money backers of Hollywood. If you look it up, they back a lot of money through the Pentagon, and the Pentagon is, doing that stuff. Now, Seal story is true. You are correct on that. Yes. Guys, you can look this up. It's nothing of this is not true. American Made, yes, is the movie about Barry Seals. It is. And he even goes as far as talking about how President Clinton is involved in this stuff and how when he was the governor there, they were allowing this stuff. I mean, you've heard the story about presidents. I mean, you've heard a story about one of President Bush's CIA jets that went down with like 4 tons of it on it or something like that. The thing is if you start going down this rabbit hole, you're going to start seeing all this stuff and how it plays out, guys. It's no secret. It's not a surprise to me. The federal government, when people think that it's really hard to get the product in this country and to do it, it's not. It's really easy. It's luck, who you have paid off. The difference is just doing it. People ask me all the time when I was smuggling from Bahamas to here. I mean, it's not rocket science, okay? It's like the luck of the draw. If anybody's telling you, thank you for the gifts, guys. I appreciate it. It's like the luck of the draw, okay? You keep throwing the dice, you're going to get struck out. And it just is what it is. Unless you're paying the right people. Like this Ryan Wedding guy, okay? Ryan Wedding is this guy from Canada. How did he get so big and so powerful? He married some Spanish-Mexican chick from Mexico, supposedly, that's connected. How did a white man get so powerful in Mexico? Just absolutely blows my mind. I can't get the full story on it. And he goes quiet so long. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he gets put on the press. Like, hey, Ryan Wedding, most wanted. We want him, $5 million. And it's like, what? Who's this guy? And he was doing all these things. And I understand he was really big in Canada. So he apparently, if you dive down deep inside the Ryan Wedding thing, he was doing like control, like unalivings for the cartels and a bunch of other stuff that the cartels didn't want to get involved with. And I still haven't been able to wrap my head around how he got power, how they used him, how he was dealing with multiple cartels, not just one, but multiple ones. Like, that's unheard of. So you're telling me the other cartels didn't know, like they weren't worried that he was giving information up and telling them about stuff? It just blows my mind that he's walking around freely down there, communicating between them, and something to do with his connects to China, and it starts with an F. I don't want to say the word. That's really bad, and he's doing something with the Chinese bankers and stuff, and I don't know. It's the guy was pretty powerful in dealing with them. So it's unbelievable. I will say that there's no rules. Yes, you don't understand how cartels in Mexico actually work. Yeah, I do. I talked to somebody that's a reporter there that actually reports on the ground there. I've dealt with some of the Mexican cartels. I've actually done time with them. So El Barbie was one of the ones that was my next door neighbor while I did time at USP Atlanta. Um, I've done time around other cartel, smaller guys that worked under the big bosses, and we had a lot of conversations, a lot of talks, because they know that I dealt with some of them. So the point that I'm making here is that I don't know everything about them, and I don't think nobody will. But the fact that of it is we know the logistics enough. We understand. Thank you. We understand enough about them to understand how they work. You lying. Okay, that's fine. Appreciate you coming and writing a comment for my thing. The point is you can look at my paperwork. I did time in the feds. I beat the feds. I was found guilty. I don't cooperate. You can look at my podcast and my stories, guys. I was a drug smuggler. I own and operate some of the biggest pain clinics. I'm affiliated with some pretty big people. So if you want to call me a lie, that's fine. But you can go look all my stuff up. I believe you on some parts, no lie. The thing is, you're not supposed to believe everything everybody says. You're supposed to have your own mind, your own opinion. My difference is that I try to give different perspectives about stuff and give you my thoughts so you can be like, damn, that is pretty crazy, and open people's minds up. Why are you snitching on yourself, though? Because I already did the time, and I'm out of the game. So, if I want to tell on myself, I can tell on myself. That's not telling, but once you're separated from the game and you're not in it no more, I'm a consultant now, so I help people that are fighting Fed stuff. But the thing, what it boils down to is now I give insight of how I seen this stuff work, where it's wild, how I know the federal government is involved, how they allow people to operate, how the CIA and the DEA and them allow people to continue. Another thing is that a lot of people don't understand is that they put a lot of people into play and allow them to operate, to build intelligence and do stuff for them and figure out these operations and let them go for years. For what reason, I don't know. I don't know if it's because they want to take the smaller guys out to keep the bigger guys in their product and power. I almost feel like anybody that's doing small stuff, they want them out of the way because they're taking profits from the bigger guys. And that's the control from the CIA and stuff. So one of the deals they work with these people is, hey, listen, we'll continue to take the small guys out so y'all control the product. I plan now that. Who is Mantra? Everyone knows that because CIA won't admit it. Yes, well, why would the CIA ever want to admit it? That's the thing about it. It's like the Ryan wedding. The Ryan wedding thing still to this day is just blows my mind how a white boy from Canada got so much power and pull. And, the Colombians are sitting back with their feet kicked up while the Mexicans are staying in the spotlight and doing all the bad stuff and everything else. And that's the funny part of it all. It's like, if you think about it, the Colombians are taking they're taking a pay cut while the Mexicans are making the most, but they're not in the spotlight like they were in the 80s and 90s. So what question am I dodging? Emmanuel asked me again. I don't see them all. They're coming so fast. White boy who is definitely Chico and I don't know what the hell you're talking about that. I don't know what that means. You're going to have to break it down into the white boy term. Come heavy from yes, everything comes from Colombia mostly, guys. And that's saying it's how's Barbie doing? I don't know. Barbie is, last I heard, he's in the dropout yard at Coleman. He was at USP Kentucky. What's the one? Beaumont, not Beaumont, but they call it Unalive Mountain there. Anyways, Big Sandy. He was at Big Sandy's in the shoe for a long time because he can't. Listen, he's at Three Rivers now. He was at Big Sandy. He's on a dropout yard because he cooperated, guys. El Barbie cooperated. El Barbie told on El Chapo, a bunch of other people. I was in there with his father-in-law. So it's so funny as I'm going to break this down a little bit. So Barbie was there. His father-in-law was there. So supposedly when Barbie got taken down, his wife's father took over the trade, the operations, and they got him a little bit after. While I was there with them in the unit, the father-in-law had got message from the higher-ups that one of his sons was found hanging from the power lines in front of his house. That was a rough day for him, and they were continuing to do that because they were... what about Pablo, guys? Everybody knows Pablo was taken out because he was wanting to become president of Colombia and pay off the debt and have control. Everybody knows he got too powerful, too big. But the thing is these cartel guys are not who you think they are. They're normal people. When they get in there, they're not tough guys. They're just normal. Their power's pulled. They're just like me and you. All they instill is business for the government. That's it. At the end of the day, guys, it's business as usual for the government. Nothing else. Business as usual. They don't care about nothing. Never have, never will. And that's the thing about it. Do you think the big guys need the small guys? I mean, yeah. But the big guys want the small guys working for them. And I think that's why the DEA and the FBI and all them work on taking all these small routes out, these people that are not working for the big guys. So if somebody's shipping something through the Caribbean through some small guys and small shipments coming out and it's not going through the big cartels where they're making the money to pay off all the politicians, I believe that that's what they do is they take them out. Because you never really hear of the government. Why don't they release and give details of them actually taking out big operations? So how are these guys able to take out so much stuff? Or how are they able to move and operate and push so much stuff? But they keep taking the heads down and getting all these people and they find out the operations, but they're not shutting the operations down. Just goes to blow your mind. Wrap your head around it and try to think about the fact that they're getting these people, they're cooperating, but the operations are not slowing. How much phone goes for it and the feds? It all depends. Camps phones go for $300, $400, $500. USP's up to $5,000. So it varies. I always quiet, not flashy. Why get him? Because you have to realize at the end of the day, once your name starts getting into the press and starts getting big, and you're not probably paying the right people or they want somebody else in power because he's not doing what they want him to do. You hear about this in the feds all the time, in the gangs, guys. Everybody wants to be a shot caller. Everybody wants to be a part of it until they tell you to go take this guy out because of $50. So they're going to tell you to go up in a room, put that work in for $50 because this guy has a $50 debt because the shot caller, the head guy, doesn't like him anymore and wants him to be punished. And they want you to go in there and get another 10, 15 years added on because of it. And you're like, absolutely not. So they take you out, check you in, put you up on the compound. So I'm just taking a guess. I'm just somebody that is taking a guess at this, why they take some of these guys out. I'm assuming at some point they don't want to work for them anymore or do the things they want them to do because they're up in age. It's going to bring publicity, and they take them down. Same thing in my operation. What was going on with me, they wanted me to take a lot of people out, and they wanted to give me 15 years, So the game is no one wins. Yeah, the federal government wins. Really, nobody does win, okay? Finally, someone that speaks the truth. Troublesome, it's not that I'm speaking the truth. I'm just speaking on what I see. You know what I'm saying? Like, God gave you, 2 eyes, 2 ears, and 1 mouth. He wanted you to listen and see more than you talk. So I sit around and I pay attention. Like, you wouldn't expect a white boy like me, no tattoos, gone to prison, grew up in prison pretty much, worked his way to the top of some cartels, beat the feds, did the stuff that I did. I'm not bragging about it, but what I'm trying to tell you is that, a lot of people are going to judge the book by its cover and say, how does he know? Well, I've been there and I've done it, guys. If you don't believe it, go check out my story. Go check out my stuff, the top of some cartels. Yeah, I was affiliated and worked with the Cali cartel out of Colombia. And the feds, I hung around some really, really big cartel leader guys, sat in the room, ate food with them. Where's your story? It's on my page, guys. You can go to YouTube and put in my name, Jason Botcherbeck. I've been on Johnny Mitchell, Matthew Cox. I'm going to do a big one Wednesday. I'm flying to New York to do a big documentary podcast. One of my stories, I opted out of it because everybody cooperated on me, and I didn't want to be on the same thing. There's a documentary called American Pain. That's all the people that cooperated against me and ratted on me. So thank you for the follows, guys. You never met Don Neto. No, I never met Don. The thing is, guys, you got to realize is the game is the game. The game is not what people make it out to be. That's why I do content calling people out, okay? That's why I do content on like exposing like Owen Hansen and all these people, the CIA. The game is not what you make it out to be. A lot of people want to come on here and wolf about, I did this, I did that, thank you for the gifts, and they did this and they did that, right? Well, let me explain something to you guys. Owen Hansen was not who he says he was. He wasn't as big. They did a documentary and they talk about one run, okay? He cooperated, get a lot of time off, but he didn't want to talk about that either. He wants to justify everything. All these guys want to talk about what they did on the up part, okay? It's like the CIA. They don't care about none of it. All they care about is money and their agenda, what they got going on, and they're going to silence these guys. El Chapo, you can look this up. He is in ADX right now, and he's not even allowed to see his attorneys or talk to them. Why is that, guys? Why is it that they won't let him talk to his attorneys? Because he's probably wanting to say something. Hi, I'm Palm Beach Pete. I know Pete. L. Barbie, guys, I did time with him, okay? L. Barbie, I did time with him. I've talked to him. He was in the same unit as me. So how do you get on the CIA radar? It's easy, guys. All you got to do is be somebody of somebody. They will contact you and offer you a job through a third-party person. They're an intelligence gathering agency. So if you notice, you can look it up, is they have a black book budget. Not even Congress gets to see how much money they're getting to whatever. They literally fly around the world. Thank you for the gifts, guys. I appreciate the gifts so much. They literally fly around the world, okay? And they just hand out cash to anybody and everybody that will give them intelligence, okay? People need to realize and understand is that's what they do. They literally just pay people to go to these third world countries all around here and just pay for intelligence. How do you think we know what's going on in these other countries? Why do you think, I want you to think about this. Every one of these guys got a $5 to $50 million bounty put on their head. How do you keep the closest people to you loyal when they can make that kind of money giving you up, okay? And probably get a United States green card to come live here, citizenship for doing it on top of it for their safety, okay? So you got guys that are close to you, your security guys, make you probably paying them $100,000, $200,000 a year, and they can cash out on a $10 to $15 million reward giving you up. How do you sleep at night knowing? I guess you would have to probably pay them that a year, and that's where it gets expensive to make sure that the closest people to you are making more than the reward. I would assume that would probably be something that if I'm a cartel guy, I'd be really worried about. Finally, someone that agrees with me, they are just CIA employees, and they're yes, and that's the thing about it, guys. They are CIA employees. I really don't think nobody gets the rewards. I don't think it's true because they know where they're at. Have you ever heard a story or somebody come out and saying, hey guys, I gave up such and such and I got the money? I've never, ever, 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 I might be wrong, I'm saying me, never seen or heard of somebody ever coming out and saying I got paid by the government to give somebody up. It's just like when you see these big corporations, and I'm coming out with a slogan. It's called, it's a quote that I'm going to get established. So when you look it up, it says Jason Botcherbeck under it. They pay fines, we do time. And can't prove that any of these people pay the fines, guys. So think about that. When our government fines these big, huge, multi-billion-dollar companies, everything else, all these fines, how do we prove they actually pay the fines? They're so big. They're the ones that lobby Congress, put them in thing. How do we know? Okay, and that's one of the things that I want people to understand and get their head wrapped around this stuff, because our federal government wants us to believe stuff. The CIA wants us to believe stuff. They're an intelligence thing. They don't care how much money they print the money. And I tell people all the time, how do you beat the people that print money? Mencho's still alive. It's a 50-50 thing for me, guys. So think about this. The government prints the money. They don't care about how much money they print, because we spend more money than we bring in on taxes. It goes to show you that taxes mean absolutely nothing. What means why our money has currency is in value, and I've learned this in prison, is because our military, okay? Anybody that contests our value of the dollar, we go after them and put the crunch down on them, okay? So we want cartels, we want all the country, oil, everything to trade in dollars. It's what makes the value of the dollar up. It makes it the world currency, is because we fund so much money in military to make sure that nobody can crush the dollar. Is President of Mexico a Nazi? I don't think a Nazi, but I mean, do I believe she's cartel? I believe she's cartel. I have a client that is an attorney from LA and gets hired from the Sinaloa. Yes. And that's the thing about it is that the Sinaloa cartel and other cartels do hire attorneys here to fight their cases. They do all these things. But I want to tell you, these attorneys work for the government. Who gives them their license? The federal government does, okay? So to some point, you think they're going to be more loyal to the cartel, or that they're having the CIA and the federal government come to them and say, we want to have a backdoor to everything that they're telling you, what's going on. So I'll put every penny on it that the cartel only trusts their attorneys as much as they want to trust them. And if you say differently, I don't believe it. Because you got to remember, who holds their license, the cartels or the federal government? At any point that the federal government can come and just pull their license and saying that you work for them and set them up, and saying that you're withholding information. You took allegiance to the United States, not a cartel from another country. So, you know, that's the point that you have to make. Cartel is the government, yes. And I agree. It's just a bigger cartel. Just have Trump pardon the right hand on the thing. Is all Mexican go back to Mexico for the better life? I am the cartel new leader. That's not how we work. Guys, you know, the funny thing about it is that I don't think we'll ever know the truth. And that is one of the things that a lot of people need to understand, is I don't think we'll ever know the truth to how in depth this is. But if people think that attorneys are loyal to you, or the cartel, or loyal to how much you spend, let me explain something to you. Attorneys are a bargaining chip. Attorneys are the middlemen, okay? Attorneys are the people that built the relationship with the judges and the prosecutors, okay? Attorneys are the people you pay as a negotiator, okay? They are your agent. Attorneys are the people that the cartel want to hire, that have the most pull. They're hearing that, oh, this attorney has a lot of pull with the government. This attorney has pull with this person, this lobby group. They're affiliated with this. So they hire that attorney to go lobby the federal government, to lobby Congress, to lobby the pull that they have to curve the system to them. That's all attorneys do, okay? Yeah, there's some that fight good in the courtroom, whatever. But the really good ones are lobbyists, okay? That's all they are. They're lobbyists. They're the ones that make things happen behind the scenes, okay? Attorneys are licensed thieves. Yes, 100%. 100, okay? So once you realize that what attorneys do, and then once you learn that what lobbying firms do, okay? Now you're going to understand why and how Congress gets paid by the drug cartels, okay? Because cartels are learning what lobbyists, what people to pay to control the congressmen. Because once you control the lobbying firms, you control who they give money to, okay? And once that lobbying firm starts giving money to certain Congress people and is like, hey, you know, you might want to drop that thing or go light on him because, you know, he's a big contributor to your campaign or lobbying firm. And they're going to be like, oh, really? So you got to think of the amount of corruption that's involved in this. The Mexican government was pissed as long as because Biden sold our weapons to cartels. If we had God there, it wouldn't be a war. You know, the thing is crazy how they fought cartels in Colombia and Escobar, but is still everywhere. Yes. So guys, if you haven't noticed how we focused more on not where it's made, but where it gets the transit routes, like the cartels in Mexico, not the ones in Colombia, is because if you focus here, it allows them to have no tension, no pressure to continue to run the operation and how America wants it ran. So get your head wrapped around that. We're going to have everybody focus here. That's Mexico. What's going on here? It keeps the tension off and it keeps the pressure off of the federal government having to go down to Colombia to please the American people what's going on. We're going to keep it so focused up here, we're going to forget about where it's made. But if we cut off the routes of where it's made and what's being done to get it here, this shuts down, okay? A lot of this shuts down, okay? So we did a blockade on Iran. It's putting a stranglehold on the country. They could do the same thing to the cartels, but they don't want to. And that's why I say that these people are assets and employed and fired by the federal government. Is because they want you to believe this. And that belief is what's waking people up to like, what's really going on? What do you mean? Well, if you really want to do something, you go here. The U.S. government, everybody go away. Yes, you know, and that's, guys, I'm not no expert, but I ain't no damn dummy. All I say is go check out my content. I just try to think outside the box of what I see. You know, you don't have to believe me. All I want to do is open up a conversation for people to start seeing, for people to start thinking like, damn, some of what he said makes sense. Some of what he says resonates. Some of the other stuff doesn't make sense, but this is what I see because of what he said. And that's where it all starts, guys. It starts with opening people up and making them think about the big picture, not the small one. You know, don't look at me. Don't say like, oh, white boy, clean cut, blah, blah, blah. There's no way. But you can go look at my paperwork, my story. I was doing big things, okay? I don't really care about that part. My part is focus on what I say and then go do your own thing. And that's the thing that I want people to understand is that a lot of people need to hear from somebody that has been in the game. Somebody that has the paperwork to back it up. Somebody that thinks differently than most. And that's all I want to do, guys, is just bring that to light. We have price, pay the rights among the right, anything. Yes, guys, so I've seen American with the Mexican cartels. Yes, well, the Americans control the Mexican cartels. We're their biggest consumers. So, I mean, at the end of the day, they work for us. We can control them. Trump is not the same, pays these people. That's why they try to take, you know, yes, in a way. Do you think that the Epstein files are linked to the cartel? No, I do not. I think they're not linked. I think that's CIA operation only. That is to, listen, so guys, I'm going to change subject for 1 second. Say I create a company. Say Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg. I become very wealthy overnight. I am a nobody. I didn't grow up into the establishment, okay? Wrap your head around this, guys. Stop and think about it. I create something. I get so much wealth, so much power, and I control so much because of my app, okay? You think that they want me to not be a part of them and I can control and do what I want and maybe expose what they do or allow people to speak freely and expose it and not push their content to go, my life should be in the thousands, tens of thousands, my content should be a lot, to have that kind of control? Or are we going to go and put a honeypot in there and get something on him and say, listen here, we'll crush your company, we'll crush you, we'll do everything. You're going to allow us to have a back door to it. You're going to do this. And then you know what we're going to do? We're going to push your page to be the biggest thing of all times. We're going to allow you to make billions of dollars, but you got to sell your soul to us. Yep, one big family. And that's what people got to realize and understand is that, say, for instance, in my hometown where I'm at, I own the biggest company of, let's just say, the plumbing company, right? And somebody else is coming up the ranks and is getting really, really big, okay? And they're on track to really take me. You think I'm going to sit back and just let them? Or am I going to figure out what they're doing and try to stop it, put a halt on them, or try to do something to expose something about them to get people to whatever? A lot of people feel like I wouldn't care, but that's a lie. Nobody... If you haven't been at the top, you don't understand. When you're up here, you want to stay up here. Okay? Floyd Mayweather. This guy made tons of money, and now he's doing meet and greets, and he's doing $25,000 parties. Like, bro, dude, you're going broke. Instead of downsizing, quit living up here, his mind can't let people think like, damn, he's not that baller, he's not that guy. His ego is so big that he's willing to crash it all out rather than downsize and make people go, damn, dog, and say, yeah, like that's what happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't live that life if you're not still in the ring, you know, making the money or singing like the rappers and stuff. Like, if the money's not coming in like that, you can't live like that no more, okay? So, a lot of people can't let their egos come down. That's the same thing with the cartels. The CIA puts them in play. I feel like they put them in play. Their egos get too big. They get too whatever, emboldened power. And when they start making this kind of money, I feel like they tell the government to do this and the CIA, right? To stick it, you know where. And that's when they're like, yeah, you're right. $10 million bounty. Sleep good at night. Listen, guys, I just got a restriction. Somebody got me. Something happened. I don't know what. But listen, guys, I appreciate everybody coming on. Go check out my content. Y'all have a good one. I appreciate everybody coming in my live.